When you talk about commitment, when you talk about consistent, persistent pursuit of a truth, a potential, a co-creation, and innovation, think about Thomas Edison next time you fail and tell yourself, I'm only 9,999 more mistakes away from creating something amazing, extraordinary. Since 1981, Justin has been producing world-class Bordeaux-style wines from Paso Robles on California's Central Coast. As the pioneer of Paso, Justin wines are what put Paso Robles on the winemaking map. The Justin team believes that wine should be exceptional from every angle, which is why their team uses boutique winemaking practices like hand harvesting and hand sorting. With a rich history of accolades, Justin produces exceptional wines and is proud to be America's #1 luxury Cabernet. Whether you're the first-time wine drinker or a wine aficionado, Justin has a wine for every celebration and occasion. Visit justinwine.com and enter promo code PLAYBOOK20 for 20% off your order. Justin offers the perfect holiday gifts for clients, colleagues, friends, or family. Be sure to check them out at justinwine.com to receive 20% off your order for a limited time and use the promo code PLAYBOOK20. Let's get to the meat and potatoes, the future and the relativity of the future training. So many people have problems with the future. They limit themselves and their future by the meaning they give their past. It's the only limitation that they give because the future is determined upon your imagination, because everything in the future is uncertain except for the 24 hours that you're given every single day, except for the last day of your life, which you'll be cheated seconds, minutes, or hours. I guarantee that as well. Most people have a problem with the future because they stop themselves or they interfere with themselves from reaching their full potential, their ease, their acceleration and aggregation of what they want in the future, which is determined by their own meaning of the past, which then formulates the materialization and the monetization of their imagination. Because one thing holds true in the future, you never will overachieve your own self-image, which is created by you and co-created by you and your source to become the greatest resource that you can be. And in the relativity of that is a relationship that you have with the future, which is determined by your relationship of the past and how you are creating, co-creating your present. The future is not a fixed destination of certainty. The only certainty that exists in the future is that which lies within you, not outside of you, besides the God's guarantee of the 24 hours that you're given. And that unfixed or uncertain destination is a fluid construct. And in a fluid construct, it creates relativity or relationship, and it's shaped solely by meaning and perception. And the participation in that perceptions formulates our beliefs, our thoughts, and our words and actions. By understanding our relationship or relativity of the future, we can recognize our roles as co-creators of resources rather than mere passengers in a life's journey. Our thoughts and imagination are determined upon our vibrational energy, our frequency, which influences the realities that we experience, influences the awareness that we have when we are moving towards, progressing towards the future. We experience this, allowing us to transcend all limitations of the meaning of the past and our self-image and shape extraordinary, exponential outcomes that even will shock ourselves. The first lesson in understanding our relativity or relationship in the future is understanding vibrations and frequency and its relativity to our imagination or our self-image. It's important to note that vibration or frequency matters in context of our imagination self-image because everything vibrates at a unique frequency, including and most importantly our thoughts and emotions, the energy that we put into motion. And notating that the highest form of energy, the highest vibration, is the truth. Everything vibrates: the earth, animals, plants, sound, light, and thought. But the thought that vibrates the fastest is the truth, and the truth is our potential. And it is associated directly with creativity, with gratitude, the ability to find the light, the love, and the lessons, with our confidence and comfortability, our ease that foster the growth and expansion of our innovation. And we have to realize as well as we have those positive behaviors at a higher frequency that progress towards our own potential, that the lower vibrations are the ones that interfere with it, that are linked to fear, doubt, stagnation, and they interfere or hinder progress. So bad behaviors and lower vibrations are interfering with our potential. And so why it matters is if we understand our frequency, then we can surround our future with the right frequency and vibration in order to manifest or co-create what we want and not limit as much, since it's infinite in its own being, not limit ourselves as much into the future. A good example is a musician who envisions a melody before ever playing a note. An entrepreneur sees a new business model before ever creating a product or selling a product. The ability of people to imagine the possibility, probability, and perspective shapes the reality that they create according to the 24 hours each day and the progress that they make with the behaviors that they institute intentionally by doing, saying, thinking, feeling, believing towards that imaginative success, exponential outcome that they're looking for without attaching or interfering in energy to it. The attachment of energy of what they think they want, an attachment to that and not to the progress or behaviors, will also create stagnation, interference, and a feeling of being stuck, overwhelmed, or cause procrastination. And so to understand the divine direction and to have the right perspective of the future, of the detours that we're taking, and to allow for divine time in the future by utilizing the man-made constructive guarantee that God has given us of 24 hours a day, that is the common denominator, the only certainty of the future. We need to cultivate our future, cultivate the environments that encourage us in order to accelerate, aggregate, and compound those outcomes exponentially, and surround ourselves in relativity of our future selves, not what we are, but what we are becoming and what is interfering with what we want to become. Engage in activities that elevate your vibrational state, utilizing any type of meditative activities. When I say meditative activity, too many people think of when they meditate is just sitting in the ganj with their legs crossed and their thumbs together, visualizing what they want. No, meditative activities could be anything that puts you into the flow. Basketball can be a meditative activity. Smoking a joint could be a meditative activity. Taking a walk with your intimate other could be a meditative activity, as long as it allows you to co-create and visualize and to institute a gratitude exercise of feeling the light, the love, and the lessons coming through you in order to facilitate a higher vibration, elevating your awareness to your future, creating and breaking through the limitations that you've put onto yourself by the past and the meaning of the failures, mistakes, setbacks, voids, shortages, and obstacles, the arguments and disagreements and the interference that you've created by your reaction to a fear in whatever it is, of a need to be right, offended, separate, inferior, superior, anxious, frustrated, angry, guilty, resentful. Whatever it is, worrying about the future is the greatest interference, and it's a duplicative negative. Every time that you worry, not only are you interfering with where you want to be or better, not only are you interfering and lowering your vibration and your awareness to how and what you can do and can create and become in the future, but worse, you're manifesting what you don't want, what's missing, or what other people want for you. We all need to know that the vibrations and the relativity to the future and the imagination and self-image is what matters, and that we need to foster the expansion and growth and in the innovation and the co-creation by being aware of the awareness that is created by the vibration and frequency that we and others surround ourselves in our relationship to where we want to be or better or become or better in the future. The second lesson is, how do we react to fear? So many of us talk about overcoming fear. You can't overcome fear. You can't out-analyze fear. You can't out-logic fear. You can't resist fear. Fear is omnipresent, and so is pain. And with pain comes a struggle and interference or a reaction. And you can't control, once again, fear, and you can't control your reaction to fear. But what you can control is how long you stay in that reaction, how long you do struggle, how long you do have a need to be right, offended, separate, inferior, superior, anxious, frustrated, angry, guilty, worried, resentful, etc., etc. Fear and the reaction to fear creates a mental barrier that distorts our reality. It participates in a perception of interference and bad behavior, and it prevents us from making the right choices and aligning ourselves with the time, emotion, and value that changes every time we make a choice, a decision, or come to an agreement. So many fears are illusions, fabrications of the future. And in order to understand the fabrication of the future, we have to understand the relativity of the future and the meaning that we're giving it by understanding and looking for the clues and the patterns that are created by the instant and obvious reaction to fear. And utilizing and looking at the fabrications of the worst case scenarios and framing things into a negative trajectory rather than understanding a genuine threat to take caution of instead of reacting to an illusionary fear. And this happens all the time. Remember, the reaction to fear and the choice to struggle for how long is yours. But it's instant and obvious. When you're pissed off, if you're worried or resentful, angry, inferior, superior, separate, any of these reactions to fear that creates interference, it's instant and obvious. And so understanding the only certainty of the future is time, 24 hours in each day, we can quantify our progress by utilizing time to see how long are we spending worrying every day, angry every day, frustrated every day, separate every day, comparing every day, accelerating and interfering in the wrong trajectory every day, which tomorrow, I guarantee you, almost all of us will experience 24 hours in the same exact time frame, except a few of us will be cheated minutes or seconds, minutes, and hours. As a business leader who hesitates to enter a new market due to a reaction to fear, which is one of worry of failure or success or separation, inferiority, superiority, the FOPO or the FOMO, the fear of other people's opinion or the fear of missing out. While competitors see the same uncertainty as an opportunity to gain an early advantage, many leaders see it as a reaction to fear and end up wondering why they never are where they want to be or better. They don't trust the wisdom that they have or the faith that they're being protected, promoted, loved, and perfected. And it is more about how they react to fear and align with the time, emotion, and value that changes every time you make a choice, a decision, or an agreement quickly by assessing the situation aligned with your timing and risk tolerance. These leaders who hesitate, whether it's in the context, as we spoke earlier with Scott Simon and Ramon Ray, about these leaders in their families reacting to fear in uncertain trajectory, then also carries forward into those that they are leading as an intelligent follower by possessing the ability to ask what and how and what matters and meanings that they're giving it and how and if they could help them. Would it help you if I got you that strength coach? Would it help you if I got that speed coach? Considering the meaning that you gave the past and what you want to become. The reaction to fear thrives on inaction. If you've ever read, as chairman of the Napoleon Hill Institute, I always bring up my favorite text and context and content of Napoleon Hill. If you've ever read Outwitting the Devil, that we know that the reaction to fear thrives in inaction and that moving in accelerated, aggregated, compounding exponentially forward the outcomes that we desire or better. Notating that even with the uncertainty, that it diminishes our power and others' powers and leads to new possibilities only if we shorten the distance of resistance, not by trying to overcome it, overwhelm it, out-logic it, out-analyze it. Don't go over, under, or through it, around it, lie to it, manipulate it, cheat it, or deny it. We need to know strictly what we want, who we can help and who can help us, and how to get that done, and understand when we're not in that trajectory, in that divine direction. When we can recognize the instant and obvious reaction to fear and utilize our attention to those clues and then our intention to the patterns of what we do, say, think, feel, and believe in order to effectuate the choice and keep it aligned, managing and developing that choice agreement, implied, written, even with consideration, when we can keep it aligned with time, emotion, and values, that changes, and keep an open mind, open heart, and open hands to change and adapt, giving permission to ourselves to change and others to change our minds, to adapt to the circumstances of the day, the uncertainty of today, in order to get to an uncertain future, except for the certainty of time, by utilizing our own relativity of how we relate to or react to fear. If we can reframe the uncertainty as a source of a possibility, probability, and perspective, rather than interfering with us, creating a feeling of being overwhelmed, or worse, procrastination that paralyzes us through what? Logic and analysis, but you can't out logic fear. You can't out logic emotion. You can't out analyze either one as well. It is just simply to analyze the reaction to fear and then to utilize a reframing to get back to ease and to say, my mind, body, and soul are on fire. I need to stop, not go over it, under it, through it, around it, lied to it, manipulated, cheated. I got to stop, drop, breathe, get to ease, become a resource of our source, recollect with our source, remind with our source, remember with our source, and then roll back into what I want to become, who I can help and who can help me, and how best can I become that, utilizing the God's guarantee of 24 hours a day that's guaranteed me every single day of my life except for the last day. We need to overcome, utilizing wisdom and faith, shorten the distance of resistance by utilizing time, the reaction to fear. The third lesson lies within intention and the limitations that we put by reinforcing the wrong intentions of what we do, say, think, feel, and believe. Our beliefs shape our experiences. The meaning that we give anything is ours. We give meaning to everything that we see, and that is what we will become. Those who focus in on what other people want, what's missing, what they don't have, that focus in on the limitations, that reinforce the barriers that we've created for ourselves, that are limiting our self-image and our imagination, that who believe in the possibilities, probabilities, and perspectives, expand their horizon, and those that believe in that which interfere with it, interferes with it. And we see this all the time in business and in life. It is not the mistakes that we make that limit our future of what we want to become or better, or where we're going to be or better. It is simply the limitation of what? The limitation of our commitment and our desire. The limitation is our lack of ability to enjoy the consistent, everyday, persistent, without quit pursuit of our own potential. The limitations are not in the mistakes. It is simply in our own lack of commitment and desire, the delta that's created by that. That is what causes us not to get to where we want to be or better, or slow down the progress, or accelerate the progress in the wrong direction. Look at one of my greatest heroes of the past in entrepreneurship, the amazing Thomas Edison, who understood failure in a relationship to the future of failure better than anyone I've ever seen, as he created 10,000 mistakes in order to create one of the greatest innovations, co-creations in the history of the world that still is utilized today and is a base or a foundation for so much joy and abundance that exists on earth in the human experience. He never once saw a mistake as an endpoint. When you talk about commitment, when you talk about consistent, persistent pursuit of a truth, a potential, a co-creation, and innovation, think about Thomas Edison next time you fail, and tell yourself, I'm only 9,999 more mistakes away from creating something amazing, extraordinary. This is the mindset that I use in sales. One of the most popular videos that I have, with I think over 4 million views now, is simply the no video. You're only 25 no's from getting a yes. So every time you get a no, if you're learning from that no and inspired by that no and enjoying that no, if you're enjoying what other people don't like or love, or what you don't like or love, you're that much closer to a yes. And Steve Jobs is someone who envisioned this world of transformation by utilizing the personal capability, or what they call the personal computer, long before others believed it was possible. Looking beyond Steve Jobs, even Bill Gates, as I was in 1999, 31 years old, in charge of the data division at Samsung's first convergence device, which is later known as a smartphone, utilizing Windows in order to effectuate what even I, as the CEO of that division, thought was incredible and maybe not even possible. To be able to use the internet on your hand in 1999 with a Bluetooth stylus that you could call within 12 feet of the phone, most people didn't believe it possible. My greatest example of this is one of the greatest legal scholars of all time, one of the greatest legal researchers of all time, Justice Scalia, one of our Supreme Court justices. Justice Scalia in 1992, when I demonstrated Westlaw to the Supreme Court of the United States in DOS with a 9600 baud modem on an XT computer that I wheeled in on a travel cart, after taking the time with dial-up service in order to facilitate an example of a slip and fall case in a grocery store, searching the California Reporter, utilizing it to find all the case law, utilizing Boolean language, slip/s, fall/p, quote unquote, grocery store. And in a matter of minutes, not seconds, not milliseconds, but in a matter of minutes, maybe 9 to 10 minutes, I presented the Supreme Court of the United States a complete list of all the case law according to slip and fall in a grocery store in California, in reverse chronological order, by legal precedent, and then able and capable to delve into the case law where it spoke about slip and fall in a grocery store, cut and paste that into WordPerfect 5.1 in a matter of 30 minutes, do what used to take 15 to 30 hours of billables. And when I did that, Justice Scalia's belief, as he commented to me, was very simple. Mr. Meltzer, that was very impressive, but I have to tell you one thing. Nobody, and I repeat, nobody will ever do research on a computer. You need books. Your beliefs dictate your future. I've seen it so many times. Your beliefs, contingent upon what you do, say, think, and feel, will dictate your future or limit it. Shifting your mindset from this limitation, this reaction to fear, to a possibility, probability, perspective, and reality creates the breakthroughs in business and life, or lifetimes. We are limited only by the meaning that we give the past, and in this lifetime, limited by time in this lifetime, which is why I believe in multiple lifetimes, only simply because nobody can prove to me there's not multiple lifetimes. And I love life. So I want as many lifetimes as I can. So I believe I get as many lifetimes as I can. So I also look in reality and the beliefs and limitation of the meaning of the past to the basement that I start at, the starting point of where I wanted to be. I believe anything's possible, just not in this lifetime. I believe that if we analyze our skills, our knowledge of who and what, we can determine according to what is available today, the circumstances of today, what's doing well, what's stable, what we think is going to do well. And we can determine, considering the delta that can occur each day and the uncertainty of how many days we're going to live, we are limited by the 24 hours of each day and the amount of days that we're going to live in order to effectuate the possibility, probability, perspective, and reality that we're dreaming of. And so I can dream all I want about being the number one point guard in the NBA, but knowing where my skills and knowledge level are today, it's going to take me many, 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 many lifetimes to get there. But if that's what I decide I want to become, I can start the process today by putting my attention and intention, by doing, saying, thinking, feeling, and believing that I can be the number one point guard in the NBA. It just most likely is not going to happen in this lifetime. But a million lifetimes from now, considering the energetic and genetic inheritance that I receive by the intention that I give, will facilitate what that is. Utilizing our present in order to facilitate the future, as we stated, worrying about the future distracts or interferes with the opportunities available today, the 24 hours that we're guaranteed today. Living in that present, utilizing non-negotiable behavior that prioritizes our sleep, our health, our family, our fitness, sorry, faith, our finance, our study of relativity, which you can see has helped me, and time. Living in the present sharpens our intuition, our intelligence, and our inspiration, fosters the resource that we are and the co-creativity that we are given as a resource, and builds momentum, the exponentiality of outcomes towards our future becoming success. We see this all the time, and there's a step-by-step. This is an unfortunate circumstance of man-made construct of time, is that time does not move in equal manner of outcomes. What I mean by that is if you are on a trajectory and it is analogized towards steps, and there was 1,000 steps that you needed to take, not 10,000 like Edison, just 1,000. If there was 1,000 steps that you needed to take to get to where you wanted to be or better, it would take you 1,000 steps. It would take you 90% of the time to get to 250 steps. And by then, most people quit because they're not living in the enjoyment of the consistent, persistent pursuit of their potential. They're not living in the present. And they don't know that although it took them 90% of the time to get to 250 steps, 5% more of the time will get them to 500 steps. And then 5% more of the time will get them to 1,000 steps, 100% of the way there. And then if they continue their effort in just 5% more of the time or faster, they'll be at 2,000 steps. This is the exponentiality. And we see this all the time in digital marketing. We see this in sales. We see this in life, in fitness, finance, and faith, and sleep. The progress like you made is made by the present in an enjoyment of the consistent, persistent pursuit of your potential. Utilizing the future outcomes that are uncertain will determine where we want to be or better by the non-negotiable behaviors of sleep and family and finance and faith and relativity and time, of intentional behaviors, but also of our relationship to the circumstances of the day aligned with our future. Practice. Understand the non-negotiable and negotiable behaviors and the circumstances that exist today and the prioritization that's necessary according to what you want to become. Practice the mindfulness and the presence in the daily activities, negotiable and non-negotiable, in order to get to where you want to be or better. Focus on executing on those priorities each and every day, understanding that as we make choices for the future of what we want to become, that time, emotion, and value will change, and we constantly have to reprioritize accordingly, except for the non-negotiable behaviors of our sleep, our health, our family, our finance, our faith, our relativity, and our time. Trust that the enjoyment of the consistent, everyday, persistent, without quit pursuit of your becoming will create your becoming. And then finally, I'm a toptimist. I'm the top of all optimists. I can find the light, the love, and the lessons and forgive myself for shit that other people wouldn't ever even consider forgiving. I take accountability through responsibility attraction and the participation in the perception of the future. This is what creates an optimist to live inspired. That's what optimists do. They are intelligent, intuitive, and inspirational. Optimism is that which fuels, through gratitude, forgiveness, and accountability, the resilience to make sure that our purpose, our definite purpose, is greater than our pain. We become co-creators. We become resources, problem solvers, intelligent followers, leaders with a vision to inspire others and empower others, to empower others and inspire others to live in abundance, to make a lot of money, help a lot of people, and have a lot of fun. They utilize intention plus attention in order to facilitate coincidences, consequences, results, and outcomes that they desire, that formulate into good behavior, that formulate into good progress, and diminishes, utilizing time, the interference or bad behaviors, and constantly gets better and better and better. One of the other optimists that I study is the one who has created the greatest moment in sports of the last century. For over 100 years, Herb Brooks has led in that inspiration, in what people dream about possibilities, probabilities, and reality. Herb Brooks led the U.S. hockey team to the number one sports moment of the century, the historic Olympic victory, instilling intention to do, say, think, feel, and believe, to be able to enjoy the consistent, persistent pursuit of their potential, an impossible or seemingly impossible outcome. A bunch of college kids beating the most dominant sports team of all time still today, the Russian, quote unquote, professional hockey team. He created and co-created a vision of a future. He worked on the meaning of the past on each and every individual. He created an appreciation of the varying differences of each individual. He created a collective consciousness of attention and intention to shape a outcome beyond the external expectations or even reality of others. One of the things I strive for is when my reality surpasses other people's imagination. And the number one sports moment of all time did that for millions, if not billions, around the world. He instilled not only what to do, say, think, and feel, but what to believe was possible for a bunch of college kids who weren't as talented, did not have the skills, the knowledge of who and what, but he utilized desire and diminished the interference of that desire and diminished the power that we all possess. We all have the exact same amount of inspiration. We all have the exact same amount of energy, emotion. We all have the same amount of intuition. He, to me, exemplifies someone who taught everyone to stop interfering with it. He changed the way they looked at things, and the things they looked at changed, and he drove it with a vision and optimism that had never been seen before. And even his own coaches, and even his own Olympic committee doubted him, almost fired him. But he used optimism as a strategic tool, not just a mindset. A tool of gratitude. He taught them to find the light, the love, and the lessons, to enjoy what other people don't like or didn't love. He taught them to enjoy what they didn't like or love every single day without quitting, in the pursuit of the gold medal. And how do I know it was in pursuit of that potential? It went beyond, because most people don't even realize that the greatest feat of the U.S. Olympic hockey team in 1980 wasn't just getting there. It wasn't beating the Russians. It was after beating the Russians to beat the Swedish team in order to win the gold. After what everyone in the entire world thought was impossible, except for those people skating on ice, they won again. Because they didn't attach those emotions to an outcome. It wasn't about beating the Russians. It was about playing to their potential and winning the gold with a vision and optimism that has never been seen before, through gratitude, forgiveness, accountability, and inspiration. I want you to think about what bold outcomes you want in your life. I want to see and think about how you're interfering with your optimism and your vision. Are you utilizing the inspiration, intuition, and intelligence to facilitate an accelerated expansion towards what you want or better, or what you want to become or better? Does it align every day with the guarantee of God's 24 hours that he's given us, except for the last day of our life? Is it yours, or is it what's missing, don't have, or what other people want? Foster this optimism through the gratitude, forgiveness, and accountability in order to live in spirit, inspired, and utilize your participation and your perspective to give a meaning of the past, align with the divine direction, utilize all detours like Thomas Edison as divine, and utilize divine time in a combination with the 24 hours of that you're guaranteed. Use those detours as opportunities, options, and touches of favor to be protected, promoted, loved, and perfected. Shorten the distance of resistance with wisdom and faith to innovate, expand, and grow. It is the vibration, the frequency, the relativity of the future that teaches us that we are co-creators. We are resources of our futures, of what we want to become or better. Our imagination should never limit us. Our self-image should never limit us. Do, say, think, feel, and believe in a trajectory, a divine direction. Utilize those divine detours and divine time. The future is not something that you need to react to when fear is present or omnipresent, and you can minimize the struggle. Both are omnipresent and will be with you every day. It is yours to design. A personal or professional who embraces the co-creativity, the optimism, the adaptability consistently, persistently will outperform those who operate in interference, fear, and rigidity. We all have the power to shape our future, align what we do, say, think, feel, and believe with the emotions, the energy and motion, the frequency and the vibration, the elevation of the awareness. Do you want to be the plants? Do you want to be the minerals? Do you want to be the sound, the light? Or do you want to be the thought? Or even the fastest vibrating thought, the truth of our desires, our delta. Enjoy the relativity of your future. Quit creating interference, shorten that distance with wisdom and faith. This show is brought to you by BetterHelp. Therapy is a great tool for facing your fears and finding ways to overcome them, because sometimes the scariest thing is not facing our fears in the first place and holding ourselves back. It's helpful for learning positive coping skills and how to set boundaries. It empowers you to be the best version of yourself. It isn't just for those who've experienced major trauma. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Overcome your fears with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/playbook today to get a 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/playbook. Imagine starting a small business, your first customer, first hire, first real paycheck. But everything isn't just exciting, it's scary. That's where JustWorks come in, the all-in-one platform that supports small business growth. Access seamless tools that help with benefits, payroll, HR, and compliance with transparent pricing. It's time to make payroll painless. Run payroll in 90 seconds or less and automate payments so you can set it and forget it. Did you know in 2023 alone, they processed over 25.6 billion in trusted payroll customers? Don't worry about the paperwork piling up either. They take care of payroll tax documents and reporting to help you stay compliant. Visit justworks.com/podcast to join the thousands of small businesses that trust JustWorks to take care of payroll, benefits, compliance, and more. That's justworks.com/podcast. This has been the Relativity of the Future training. Be more than happy to send everybody the exercise to this. Available, of course, for our private networking group as well. Please reach out if you'd like that exercises guide. It'll help us all each day to practice, to progress to our better selves and our best potential. Nikawam, it is your turn to reset the room and take some questions if you don't mind.
Absolutely. And thank you so much, David, for an incredible first half of the training here, focusing in on the relativity of the future. And of course, again, for everybody here joining us as we transition to the Q&A session, we got our good friend Brian Swift, that is ready to rock and roll. Brian, it's always great to see you here, my friend. Feel free to unmute yourself and start us off with the first question of the day. Oh, looks like Brian's, there he is.
Thank you again for David. Such amazing wisdom and insights. So, and Nick, thank you. So my question: you talked about getting, those first 250 steps, and with only 5% more, if we just realized it was all, how far that next 5% would get us. Is there something you do when you get to, when you get to that 250 and you start to waver? Is there something you mentally go through that allows yourself to take those next steps?
Yeah, so it's actually every day. And that's what got me to the 90% of the way there. Because remember, most people, they lack the commitment in order to get to 90% of the way there because they don't have any evidence that they're getting anywhere. In fact, a lot of times, all they have, like Thomas Edison, is contrary evidence that they're going to get there. And so the non-negotiable behaviors keep me to enjoy the consistent, persistent pursuit of my potential. And that provides 90% of the 90%. It presents every day my ability to keep moving forward. Because if I allot time to recover and access information through my sleep, if I allot every day, 7 days a week, if I allot time to my health 7 days a week, to my family, to my finance, to my faith, to my study of relativity and my study of time, which may take 11 or 12 hours of the day, including my sleep, that leaves me 12 hours a day to climb more steps according to the circumstances of the day and to prioritize and reprioritize all day long according to the circumstances of the day, allowing me to stay aligned with the time, emotion, and value that changes each and every day, allows me to stay aligned with the uncertainty of the future. Notating that it's the non-negotiable behavior every single day, including my sleep and health and family, that get me the most progress on those steps, and only 10% of the progress on the steps. So when you're at 250 steps, after 90% of the time that it takes to get there, only 25 of the steps are achieved by the circumstantial, the negotiable behaviors, the prioritization and the reprioritization of the inconsistency that is necessary in order to, one, facilitate non-negotiable behavior, because human nature hates consistent behavior, and two, facilitates the alignment with and the variant behavior that allows us to enjoy the non-negotiable, consistent, persistent pursuit of our potential. And so it's each and every day that puts us into a place that we don't care when we're at 90% of the way there, because we, like Thomas Edison, are consistently enjoying the pursuit of our potential, regardless of how many steps or how much evidence or contrary evidence there is. And so we're adapting through the negotiable behavior to the circumstances of the day and expanding into divine detours that allows for divine time to give us the revelation or reveal the outcomes that we wanted or better, as long as we're attentional and intentional about what we do, say, think, feel, and believe, and are consistent and persistent in the non-negotiable behavior. So there's no construct of a milestone of one-time analysis. It's a consistent, persistent analysis that continues us on the progress of 90% of the time it takes to get to 25% of the way there. 95% gets us to 50% of the way there. 100% of the time obviously gets us all the way there. 105% gets us to 200% of the way there. 110% gets us to 400% of the way there. That's the exponentiality. To complete the equation, it doesn't and isn't linear in its percentage. So it's actually faster. If it takes 90% of the time to get to 25% of the way there, it's going to take less than 5% to get to 50%, and then less than another 5% to get to 100%, then less than another 5% to get to 200%, and less than another 5% to get to 400%. Because you're going to get better, because we get better by practicing behaviors, so the time should be faster and accelerated. I just use constant time in order to effectuate a clear understanding of the lack of commitment that most people have, because there's no evidence, or evidence is contrary to where you think you want to be or better.
Wow. Thank you so much. So staying present and consistent and enjoying that journey along with, maintaining your non-negotiables is really key.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's difficult because it's contrary to human nature not to respond to no evidence or contrary evidence. It's also contrary to human nature to do things consistently, because the simple things to do are simple not to do, simply because human nature is contrary to consistent behavior. Human beings don't like to be consistent by nature. So when we can create a commitment via time to a minimum amount of time on our sleep and health and family and faith and relativity of time and of relativity itself, whatever it may be that's non-negotiable for us, it's contrary to human nature. So we have to understand that we need the variant negotiable behavior as well to enjoy the consistent contrary human nature aspects of progress, which is consistency and also faith when no evidence or contrary evidence is present.
Oh, thank you so much. God bless.
All right, Nick, who has the next question?
Absolutely. I'd actually suggest, why don't we go ahead and take a quick one online? I have one pulled up here, and then we'll come back to Clubhouse. Does that work?
Okay, yeah, I see one from College Malloy, but I think that's Colleen Malloy. She changed her name to College.
Oh, perfect. Do you want to go ahead and take it?
No, give me yours. I'll just save that one.
Okay, perfect. All right, perfect. So the one I have says, you said on your IG Live yesterday that luck is removing the resistance.
Oh, that's the one from College Malloy.
How has your definition of luck evolved? And yeah, perfect.
We got the same question. You and I, our minds are the same. So I'll read it off. You said on your IG Live yesterday that luck is removing the resistance to your greatest desires. How has your definition of luck evolved, and can you explain that? What a great question. So I used to think luck was preparation. The preparation provided options, opportunities, and touches of favor. It also provided key insights on what opportunity, option, or touch of favor to choose. Then it created better outcomes, and then people thought you were lucky. So that's how I used to define luck. When I shifted the paradigm to I am lucky, what am I doing to interfere with it? It realized that luck was created not just from preparation and determining options, opportunities, and touches of favor and prioritizing the opportunities, options, and touches of favor. It actually was far greater that I am lucky. I am lucky. What am I doing to interfere with it? If I am a co-creator, if I am a resource, if I am lucky, then all I got to do is figure out what I'm doing to interfere with it, knowing that what I'm doing to interfere with it is what? Reacting to fear by not doing what I need to do, by accelerating in the wrong direction, by not saying what I'm supposed to say, think what I'm supposed to say, think, believe what I'm supposed to believe, or feel what I'm supposed to feel. The reaction to fear. And so the definition of luck has changed for me. Instead of preparation, practice creates options, opportunities, and touches of favor. Luck is created by prioritizing the options, opportunities, and touches of favor into exponential outcomes that others determine are lucky, into I am lucky. What am I doing to interfere with it? And that it's my job to remove or shorten the distance of resistance to my luck by utilizing wisdom of what I want, who I can help, who can help me, and how best to get it done in the circumstantial and non-circumstantial behavior, non-negotiable and negotiable behavior. And even moreover, to understand that shortening the distance of resistance is not only from the wisdom of the who, I'm sorry, the what, the who, and the how, and prioritizing according now, but it actually is also a matter of faith that when there's no evidence or evidence contrary to where I want to be or better, or evidence, no evidence or evidence contrary to me being lucky, that I am, and that I'm being protected, promoted, loved, and perfected. I just don't understand right now the evidence. It is there. I just don't understand it. I'm not aware of it, or I don't understand, and I see it as contrary. That's how we shorten the distance of resistance. I am lucky, not I need to prepare for luck, determine how to prioritize the options, opportunities, and touches of favor that are created by that preparation. Inherently, if I am lucky and I'm shortening the distance of resistance, I'm doing, saying, thinking, feeling, and believing what I need in a trajectory, divine direction. I'm shortening or taking divine detours, and divine time will illustrate my luck to others according to their conditional perspective of the outcomes in my life. What do you say to that, Nick?
Brent has a question for you. So, Brent, happy Friday, my friend. It is all yours.
Happy Friday. Lots of love. Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day. I love you.
Yeah, I love you too, man. I love you too. It's great to be a part of your community and learn from your wisdom. So here's a question. So the ongoing theme is, fear is an illusion. Fear doesn't exist. Fear is all in your head.
Not in my world.
Yeah, seriously. So how do you kind of combat that when there's a natural nervousness about pretty much everything we do, but we're not supposed to think about what the reaction is and all these other people, but yeah, we do constantly. So in the essence of your teachings is kind of in line with what we've learned from you. So does this have anything to do with non-negotiable behavior, or is this just this whole separate thing?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's relative to non-negotiable behavior in the respect that I want you to shift your paradigm of fear. You said it yourself that, worry or fear is omnipresent. It's continual. It's part of human nature. When we are uncertain about something, we react to it. When we are presented with something that we don't understand or know, we react to it. When we are presented with something that we perceive to be dangerous, uncertain, or we don't know, we react to it. And so instead of worrying about what we perceive to be a threat of whatever sort that I just described or others, what we should focus in on is our reaction to it. And we want to shorten the distance with wisdom and faith, utilizing time in order to facilitate staying at ease longer. Because the more at ease we are, the more in the flow we are, and the more that we will be able to utilize the omniscient and all-powerful source and become better resources. Recollecting, reminding, and remembering more of the 24 hours each day with the unbelievable, omniscient, and all-powerful source of being that resource, a co-creator. And so fear, to me, is the indicator that we have a better place, a better position to be in the future. And the relativity of that is dependent upon how am I reacting or interfering with that opportunity, option, or touch of favor that's created by this divine detour. And so many of us don't take the easier route by studying the reaction to fear. Instead, we spend millions of dollars in therapy and personal development and other areas trying to figure out what we're afraid of, instead of taking a disciplined approach of reacting to fear and understanding and elevating our awareness to how do we react to fear in the best context to shorten the distance of resistance it created by the reaction to fear. The need to be right, the need to be offended, the need to be separate, the need to be inferior, superior, anxious, frustrated, angry, guilty, resentful, or worried. All of these different interferences are stopping us from getting to a better future. And so I want you to shift the paradigm of fear as the interference to your own potential, to what you want to become, instead of trying to figure out what you're afraid of. And in that paradigm shift, you will find great ease and a dissipation and a diminished capacity for dis-ease. Does that sound fair, Brent?
That sounds fair. Lots of love to you guys.
I will see you soon. We're going to be 200 cities. David at dmeltzer.com. If you want to join us and want to be alerted where to join us, then text me 949-298-2905. All right. Enjoy your holiday, everyone. Be kind to your future self and do good deeds.